it's me, Pops Van Marmalade, and you... Hey, yo, it's me, Pops Van Marmalade, and you're watching the Comics-Related Madness Network. Huh? So come get some. CromCon. CromCon.
I wish I could find a way to better advertise Apothic Press.
Just back it already.
Whoa, Crom, what are you doing here? What's this? The Madness Roku Network. Sponsorship. 1 month of playing your 30-second ad on the network 3 times a day? Oh my gosh, for $20? And you can't beat that.
Just back it already.
All right, Crom, I'm doing it. Awesome. Hi, I'm Tanner Hurley, founder of Apothic Press. I back the Madness Roku Network, and so should you.
Fairview's coffee has mysteriously gone missing. Mayhem ensues when strange, coffee-craving zombies plague the city. Detective Mickey Potatoes, an overworked public servant, uncovers why ordinary citizens are losing their minds and how to stop the coffee apocalypse. But it involves the mafia. And when you're dealing with mafia crime families, nothing is ever easy. The mafia controls everything in the city, including the police, including him. If he breaks the mafia, they will break him. So, the city is without coffee. The city is burning before his very eyes, but he's powerless. Detective Potatoes has the power to stop the coffee apocalypse, but if he does, he could lose everything.
What is Path of the Pale Rider anyway? Is it a comic book? No, that's not it. Is it this? What the heck is Path of the Pale Rider, man? There's no way this is right. How about this? I have no idea.
We can rob a bank.
Oh, it's this.
The Madness Comic Network and comic-related madness proudly presents Madness Tuesday Morning Brew. Tune in to our content on Comic Talk with Pops Van Zandt on YouTube.
Good morning, everybody. How are you? It is Tuesday, and I'm doing my best to wake up. It's been a long month or so. Finally finished up that Kickstarter. So Path of the Pale Rider number 4 is about to start production. We're just waiting for that Kickstarter money to show up, and we're going to start running at full speed. I think the guys are ready. They're chomping at the bit. So I was like, you could just go ahead and start, and I'd be okay with that. But other than that, we got lots of good stuff going on. I wanted to, if you haven't seen it yet, this is the secret reward from the campaign. It's your very own 3D printed Big James. So for the 3 people that were brave enough to choose the secret reward, they get this lovely Big James statue, and you can either have it painted by yours truly, or you can have it just whatchamacallit, just the base layer, and you can paint it yourself. So those are the options on that one. I'm really excited that 3 people were brave enough to do that, because I always strive to make those something different and outside of the box and fun. So there's that. The Slice and Dice is next weekend. So we are naming a pumpkin, and I'm letting people choose a weapon of destruction, and we will smash a pumpkin next week on the show. I'll have the Destructo cam set up. My dad is in town. We are constructing I don't even know what to call it. It's some kind of jerry-rigged sledgehammer. I have a sledgehammer, but we're aiming for just a bigger radius of destruction, I guess. So we're going to work on that tomorrow. So next week, Carissa Grant will be on the show. Her Kickstarter is ending. If you have backed Path of the Pale Rider and you are interested in getting that crossover art that we premiered, there is still time to go back where the chaos ends next week during my show. So there's that. So please go vote for the pumpkin name. It's tied right now. There is a write-in name of Ichabod Craven that has about 8 votes. And Jar Jar Binks, which everybody I'm sure would love to see smashed to smithereens, is the tie. They're tied 8-8. So I just want to make sure, if you haven't voted yet, let's break that tie and see what the pumpkin's name is going to be before we smash it to smithereens. Good times. So that's kind of what's going on in Path of the Pale Rider camp. For today's guest, we have a return guest. I'm very happy to have Phoebe Xavier back. Good morning, Phoebe. How are you?
Good morning, Larry. Thank you for having me back on.
Yeah, absolutely. I was really excited to learn more about this project that you're working on. When Jeff sent me kind of the synopsis, I was like, ooh, this is really interesting, because I know that you yourself are a writer. I did not know that you were a letterer from having you on last time. And this is something, it's a collaboration that you're working on. So that's really interesting. But before we do a dive into that, just remind everybody, who you are, what you do, all of that good stuff. Can you hear me, Phoebe?
Yeah, I hear you. I write narrative fiction as well. I think last time I was on, I was promoting my short story collection, which
Yes.
I have right here.
Cool.
Serial app. Oh no, I'm sorry. Superliminal latency. Yeah. So since last time I was on, it also got printed in this collection. It's called Fading Hope by Novelty Fiction. I have a short story in that one.
Nice.
But yeah, other than that, thank you. Yeah, and I run a comic book brand called 123 Go Publications, and the comic book I'm here to talk about today is part of it. And yes, yeah, I don't know if I didn't discuss last time, but yeah, I letter just about all of my the books that I write. In some of our anthologies books, when a certain artists do their own lettering, there's a couple instances of that that an artist letters their own art, but for the most part, I'd say at least 80 to 90% of our stuff, I do our lettering.
Okay, that's good to know. Letterers are kind of the unsung heroes in the comic book world. It's like if you do it right, no one notices, but if you do it wrong, everybody comes for you.
Yeah. And actually I started lettering like from my very first book just to be able to afford to put out a comic book.
Yes.
I was like, I have image editing program. I don't use Adobe, I guess would probably be where a lot of people get their feet wet in graphic design. I run Linux. So I use a program called GIMP, and I was like, I have GIMP, I could do letters, and I just need to get the artwork on the page. I actually, because I was the letterer on my first couple of books, I kind of went with the Kirby Stan Lee style of like, just give me the pictures and I'll make up the words later. That I would kind of plot things like, yeah, and
That's
even
the-
depending on like how the page,
The Marvel method. That's what they
depending on,
call that.
yes, yeah, and depending on how the pages come out, maybe like a certain panel gets more or less dialogue depending on the art. So
Right.
yeah,
I find
and
that as
but
well. I find that as well. I letter Path of the Pale Rider, and I have a working script that my artists will use when they're drawing. However, I will most of the time have to go in and change dialogue to either fit what's on the page better, or like maybe they didn't give me enough space, or maybe they gave me more space than I was planning on, so I can adjust. So
mhm.
I think that as a writer, being the letterer on the comic is actually advantageous.
Absolutely. Yeah, it definitely gives you a bit of an edge, or at least cuts down some of the back and forth between you and who the letterer would be.
Right. Can you change this? No, change it again. No, please.
Yes.
That's what I feel like it would be, when I'm constantly changing things. So, so
Yeah,
you're lettering
absolutely.
on this one, but who is the artist? Let's talk about your relationship with the
Um,
artist.
that's Jose Ernesto Diaz. If you go to our Kickstarter, our video is a quick minute of him introducing the book to the audience. He is from Guatemala. I found him on a Facebook comic book forum seeking a publisher, and he kind of didn't have a book put together yet, but he pitched me based just on the art, and the art was magnificent, and I knew that I wanted to be a part of this project.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And what was it about the project that really grabbed you? Was it the art? Was it the writing, the concept, like all of the above? Like what spoke to you about Vikings?
Well, the writing wasn't all there yet, so I kind of like volunteered myself to edit it and get a story out of the images. But the art itself was really what drew me to it. And his Jose's niece Adriana does the coloring on a bunch of the panels, and
Wow.
she had already done a lot of that when I started working with him. And yeah, so I really liked how both the line art and the colors were coming out, and that's why I decided to hop in and help him organize a pattern for the pages, a sequence, so to speak. Yeah, I got
Right.
that big exclamation point watermark in there, but
Right.
that's
For
our
your
cover.
safety. Yeah.
That's our Yeah, that's our cover. It's a wraparound cover. That's front and back cover.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I also gave. Sometimes I give. He did do certain additional images once my narrative arc was applied to his arts. So I had to request the cover, for example, and I think
Mhm.
the thing that I gave him to inspire the cover image was a classic old Conan cover where it's like Conan fighting a bear on the cover.
Yes.
And this image looks nothing like it insofar as like the pose and the action, but he was like, yeah, let me have like 4 Vikings fighting 2 bears and wraparound cover, and I loved it. So that's what we're going with.
Yeah. When I was looking at this, and again, Vikings are so interesting. So it's such a cool topic, to read about. But the line work is amazing and the color is just amazing. I think those two things together really make this. And it looks like it's in that very, I don't even know how to explain it. It's classical. How would you
People have
describe
described
this art style?
some people have described it as like wood etching that looks similar to wood etching,
Yeah.
and I think that's accurate. At the time that he pitched it to me, I think we were in season 2 of Primal. Did you watch Primal on
No.
Adult Swim?
No.
Okay, well, it's a guy named Spear and a dinosaur named Fang, and there's no words the entire first like
Oh
10 episodes,
my
and
god.
it's just them fighting in this like weird world where dinosaurs and humans coexisted,
Yeah.
and it's the guy who did it's the creator of Samurai Jack. That's who did
Oh,
that
nice.
series,
Yeah, okay.
and so at the same time that I was watching Primal, I got Jose's pitch, and it kind of reminded me of the similar art style.
Yeah.
And I, while he didn't do that much additional art on this book. We started a second project that will kind of lean into inspired by the Primal artwork,
Cool.
and that will be more of a fantasy fictitious Vikings tale, whereas this is as historical and
Historical.
fact based as possible.
Yes. Good morning, Ryan. Thank you for tuning in.
Hi, Ryan.
Good. Yeah, I was just well, first of all, geese scare the crap. Look how big these geese are. It was like, "Oh
We
no." But
did not mean to scare you with that, Laurie.
yeah, I know, like, "Oh, run away." But I just think this meshes so well, like I said, with the line work and the color and the font that you used. It all looks like very historical, very educational. It's beautiful. And you said, I believe
Thank
it's
you.
how many pages?
22 pages of the Viking history and 2 pages of advertisements at the back.
Gotcha. And
They
where
got to make that 24 pages.
you got to. But it is a standard comic book size. It's a floppy cover, correct?
Hmm.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it's a one shot.
Yeah. Are Was there a certain soft spot for you for Viking history as well?
I definitely have been interested in mythology in general and Norse mythology for a long time. So it's something I at least knew about the mythological stories and beliefs coming into it, and that was definitely a part of why I also attached myself to the project. Other than the artwork, it was like, oh, this is something I already know about and like.
Yeah.
We're just kind of bringing it more down to earth than just the stories about frost giants and gods and whatnot. But yeah, so I definitely already had an interest in the topic.
And then who I'm assuming that you got the information that's presented in the story because it's very historical, um, talking about like how they used to live, that you filled in those blanks, correct?
A lot of the research is done by me, but also Jose had another friend of his that was working on it with him before I joined the project. And so he was someone who actually was doing academic archaeological work in Europe. And so he brought some of the facts to the table, and my own research brought a lot of the rest.
Gotcha. It's it's a stunning book. Um, and
Thank
my
you.
other question was, are you guys planning on doing more? And you did mention another project, but um, historical or educational comic books are a thing. So I was wondering if you were
Yeah.
considering even doing like other cultures and in this style would be very interesting to me.
Well, I think the one we're definitely doing another Vikings book, and it's going to be called
Right.
Vikings: The Arctic Passage, and that's about passing through the from Iceland across the top of the world around Asia, and which I think is something that explorers tried back then, but I don't think very many were successful
Yes.
in medieval times. But
I think Phoebe froze. Are you back, Phoebe?
am I here? Am I back? All right,
Yeah, you're
I'm
back.
here. Are
I
you
hear you
here?
now. I
All
hear
right,
you.
cool,
Good
cool,
morning,
cool.
Max. Good morning.
Um,
The last thing we heard was that
so
the people that were traveling were not very successful at what they were trying to attempt at the time because it was so dangerous.
yes, so we are doing a fictitious series about a dark elf and Yule Cat. If you know who Yule Cat is, he's a giant cat that eats children on Christmas if they don't wear new clothes. So yeah, so Yule Cat and a dark elf, like what would be a drow in D&D or whatever,
Yes.
are pair of friends that team up with some Christian Vikings out of Iceland and try to sail across the Arctic Circle. And so that's the book we're going to do next. But we also I kind of close out the end of the Vikings book with like talk about the next big era of history being defined more by the Crusades. Those wars are the next several hundred years of human history there. And we might come back and do a Crusades book.
That's interesting. That period of time is so, I want to say, what's the good word? Tumultuous.
Oh,
That's a
indeed. Yeah.
mythical word, right? That's a good word to explain that time. And that would be really interesting to see a lot of different perspectives of that time. So I was like, I'm just finding you all sorts of things to write, Phoebe. I'm just like, and then this, and then we want this. Good morning, Sebastian.
Well, I already had the good morning. I already had the idea to maybe do the Crusades book, but
Yeah.
the Arctic Passage book will come first.
Gotcha. How long did it take you guys to accomplish this book?
I'd say like a year and a half we've been working on it. And we probably would have been ready to launch a little bit earlier, except for the fact that I relocated in August, and that was going to be our launch date. But I'm down in Pennsylvania now. I was in
okay.
Vermont last time I talked to you.
Yeah.
So we put it on hold an extra month or two just to for me to relocate. But
Absolutely.
so here we are. I know we're in the toughest month of the year to launch a project, but we're at like 1121 as of this morning, and the goal is only 2,000. So we still have time to make it. For me,
Sure.
Kickstarter is always kind of like nail biting to the end, but
I mean,
we're doing our darndest.
Yeah, this isn't your first one, so I mean,
No.
and I'm with you. It's like it doesn't matter how many you do, you launch, and it's like it's not like any of the other Kickstarters you've run before. They're always something different, and nail biting is kind of thumbs up. Wait, I have something for you. I made this little short video about what it's like to run a Kickstarter. We'll watch it.
Hold on. I think I'm bleeding. Am I bleeding? Nose and lips. Okay, ow. No, can I? Ow. Wait. Ow. Please, Mr.
That's awesome.
Sebastian agrees. Accurate.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can found a Kickstarter.
That's our new quote. If you can dodge a wrench, you can run a Kickstarter. Oh my goodness. But yeah, it looks like you got some time. Let's see. How long of a campaign did you run? 30 days?
I think it was about 30. Yeah.
Yeah.
Started with 30.
So we're just past half, and you got plenty of time. Saturday, November 4th. Yep, where you can push. I don't know what it is, but it's always that first week and then the last week. You know what I mean?
That I think the program itself or the interior algorithms of Kickstarter kind of give you a little bit more visibility then. Yeah.
Yeah. Right in the beginning, and then it's like, because you get the just launched. Sometimes if you're lucky enough to get that project we love, that'll give you a little bit of a
hmm
boost. And then at the end when
hmm
it's like ending soon, and you're just in different categories where people can find you if they're looking. So it's always
Yeah.
helpful.
I took a look in our statistics last night. We have 30 people following the project that only 6 of them have actually funded it in any way. So I'm going to
Mhm.
follow up with them in the last week. So hopefully those are people that have been hanging on to see how we're
Yeah, I
doing.
know. But how do you know who they are? That's the thing, is when I look at the dashboard and it's like you have X amount of people following, and it's like, how do you send a message just to them? Right?
I haven't tried to look into it yet, but I know that there's like a secondary tier of analytics, and I would hope that it's in there. If not, just kind of through messaging and updating, you could kind of be like,
Yeah.
"Hey, you 24 people,
I
I don't
know,
know who you are,
seriously.
but please."
I'm sending out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. You'll get a lot of action in that last week of campaign. That's typical. So, as long as
Mhm.
you're, within reason, you should be able to go. And I think, with more eyes on the project, will definitely help you get there. I would love to play this video real quick so everybody can hear from the
Yeah.
artist, Jose.
Yeah.
Um,
Sure.
Here we go.
Hola, I am Jose Ernesto Diaz. I am an artist, a cartoonist, and a dreamer from Guatemala City, Guatemala. A few years ago, I dreamed up most of the art, the general theme that went into this book I am asking you to be part of right now. It is called Vikings Saga of the North. It is meant to be a history more than a myth, though we respect both visions. I have worked with Phoebe for over a year now to get this book ready. We hope you will love it as much as we do.
I love how he calls you Phoebe.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he was pronouncing it even differently before, and I had to show him a clip of like Phoebe from Friends. I was like, no, Jose, it's more like this. But it's great. Working with someone, and a couple of my artists are like people who English is their secondary language, and it's great to have them put the effort in to communicate with me. They don't make me speak Spanish. Um, my artists in the Philippines aren't making me learn their language. So yeah.
That's nice.
Um,
They make it easy on you, for sure.
indeed.
Nice.
But yeah, I wrote part of that script for him, and yeah, that's the video we came up with. I could have done the video, but I felt it was more important since like I'm introducing his art or whatever. It's really
Yeah.
more of his vision and everything. I wanted him to be the face of the project in that sense.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was the right move. I just wanted to say also, I think it's really cool the day and age we live in where we can all work digitally together, and it's like you can make a comic book with people from all over the world. Um, where years ago we couldn't do something like that. So I think that in this world, this digital world, the space that we move in, is really a unique place where we can make beautiful things and collaborate with people that we've never, would never have been able to do in the past. I don't think I'm making
Absolutely, yeah. A number of my books are dependent on people in several different countries that
Yeah.
yeah, and that instantaneously though it could be like I get the art from Thailand, then I email it to the Philippines, and then
Right.
by next week I have it in Pennsylvania and I'm ready to letter it.
That's so cool. I think that's amazing that we can do that. And then it's like everything is international, and the subject is about historical Vikings. So talk about, like multi.
A totally different country, yeah. Uh,
Oh
yeah, it's pretty
man,
cool.
go ahead, Phoebe.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, also I was thinking another thing about the analytics is that in making a video, I looked that up, and they kind of recommend that your video be between 2 and 3 minutes long, and
Yes.
that if you get a complete video watch rate of 30%, you're in good shape. Well, we
Yep.
did a 1 minute video, and we're at about 50 to 60% of watch rate. So
Oh, that's
I guess
great.
a shorter video will get you more complete views. So.
I agree. I always struggle with my video. I try to give a lot of information because we have a lot of moving parts, and I had to resort to being theatrical in order to get people to watch my video. Because my video for my last one was 5 minutes. So, but I had about a 50% watch rate as well. Because I ran myself over with a car in the first 2 seconds. So
Oh, okay.
right? Exactly. I was like, how can I get people to watch this? I know. Run myself over with it. Right. Okay. So I mean, that's always a challenge trying to figure out, how to structure your page. What banner do you put up to represent? Because this image is what people will see when they search, on Kickstarter. What do you put in the video? How long do you want it? How much art do you put up? And what information you put on that page. I struggle with putting too much, I think. I like yours where it's just very simple. Like, this is the pages from the book. This is what we're trying to accomplish. You have everything. Consequences. Yes, Max. All right, I'll do it. Ready? Here you go.
Consequences.
It's part of my video. I did, Phoebe. I had myself as a character from the book that was a zombie doing my video
Nice.
with me, and she kept interrupting and doing crazy stuff and
Chicken nuggets.
saying weird things because that's what she does. So yeah.
Did
so
she
now
ever try to? Did she
what?
try to eat your brains?
No, because
Did she
in
try
my
to eat?
story they don't try to eat you. They're just people, but they're chaotic because their brain is rotting. So they're not
Oh, okay.
cannibalistic, thank goodness. But her eye falls out in the middle of the video, like it's really funny. So now, when I do
Nice.
my Tuesday show, people show up and they do this. They say consequences, or they say chicken nuggets. That's what this one was from earlier. It was like consequences.
Mhm.
Yep, that's what happened. So yeah, but I love how concise you were in this just top section right here. It's like this is how you guys met. He sent you pages and you were, interested in the project, decided to move forward. And then if you meet your goal, all the money goes towards printing and shipping. And if you meet stretch goals, then the money goes to Jose and Adriana. And then just pictures from the book. I think it's pretty straightforward. There's not need to be flowery and craziness. You know what I mean? It's very simple and straightforward. Same thing with the video, where it's like sometimes when you have too much, people don't look at everything because it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
So
And I mean, the artwork speaks for itself. The art, I
Mhm.
think, is anybody that likes comic books is going to be like, "Ooh, who is this new artist?"
Yes. And it's a very distinctive style. It's like historical. This one the horses reminds me almost of Van Gogh, where the peasants living
Awesome.
in the field.
We'll take it. We'll
Yeah.
absolutely take it. That the image, the original drawing on paper in ink, it was one of our rewards. Someone already picked that one up. But yeah, I wanted to show you guys. Our rewards feature like actual hand drawn in ink. Yeah. So
Wow.
this is like an original ink drawing that Jose did, and I think I have like 16 of them in total. And the bigger ones we're selling as individuals or offering as individual rewards. This one is like Odin on the throne with the berserkers behind him. I think this one was also already selected.
Wow.
But yeah, so those are some of yeah. Thank you. His art is amazing, and I think yeah, that was a great idea for me to have him ship those. we have maybe 4 or 5 more to offer that are still in Guatemala, but because we're running out of ones to offer as our rewards, I'm going to post them as new rewards so they're available there, and we'll work out the shipping on that later maybe. But yeah, so those are all original
wow.
pen and ink drawings that Jose did. And if you saw in the video too, there was a bunch of spray cans, spray
Yeah.
paint behind him. He does spray paint art as well. He's just always active as an artist. He's drawing or painting every day. And yeah, we're fortunate enough to have some of his original art as our rewards.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm gonna go through these.
Yeah, there's
each
the
of
horse
these
one.
because they're
You just went through past the
amazing.
horse one.
Yeah, look, here's the Berserker one. None left.
And then right
Be
above that was
welcome.
the horse.
Yeah.
There it is.
I'm trying to find the
The
one.
original drawing.
Go back. I was like, there is a painting here.
Oh, is this the Van Gogh or
Van
that you
Gogh,
said it
is it
reminds you?
women digging in a field with snow?
Oh wow.
I don't know. Maybe that's. Oh yeah, in a commercial. Great, perfect. See what I mean?
Hey,
And
we will
grass and the line work.
we will take any comparison to Van Gogh. We welcome that.
Yeah. I was like, I totally see it. For sure. All right, so let's go shopping. Okay, so buy-in starts at $5. Well, I mean, anybody can make a pledge. You can pledge $1. Every little bit helps. And of course, any dollar pledge also, the backer count goes up, which is great. So you can support for as little as $1. But to get a reward starts at $5. You can get a digital copy, which is beautiful. And you can read this. This is great for international backers, right? Are you doing?
Yeah.
Are you doing? Oh yeah, you will ship anywhere in the world. Wow.
Yeah.
You are
I mean, the
sophisticated.
thing with those rewards is that I already have them in my possession, and they cost nothing essentially. These are things he would have just had sitting on a shelf otherwise.
Yeah.
And for us to monetize it, even if the shipping is half of the cost, that still helps the project.
This is true. At least it's something as opposed to nothing. You have 12 backers already in physical copy, which is great. So the printed version of the comic book for only $8 plus shipping, printed and mailed from Kablam in Orlando, Florida. Okay. But again, ships to anywhere in the world, which is amazing. Dude, shipping stuff to Florida or not Florida, Australia, it's like $75. Something stupid. It's just dumb.
Is it really?
Yeah, it can be really expensive. But if people want their $8 book shipped for $75, if they're willing to pay this shipping, why not?
Well, I might need to adjust my shipping costs because I did not realize that.
Well, I'm assuming it was at one point, but I don't know. I would say double check it with the size of the packaging and the weight. Of course, I could be off. Max probably knows better than I do what it's shipping.
And I mean those. Yeah.
Go ahead, Phoebe.
Well, and that's just for a single comic book. So if that's $75, I'm gonna go postal on the post office maybe. But, yeah.
I don't know. I use Pirate Ship, so
Okay.
I would say find an address somewhere for somebody, and I would check it out just to be sure.
Test it. Yeah. Well, we also then I think you just came up on our digital package, which is really better for people overseas.
That's what I was saying. That was my point, is that when you have digital packages, it works really nice for the people overseas who don't want to pay, 3 times as much shipping for a book. It's like, well, you can download it. You can read it on your tablet or your phone, which is nice because it's portable. It's always there. You can read it in the dark, all that good stuff. But I like them both. I like reading it when it comes out. But I also want to feel the pages and smell the book. You get the experience, when you have a physical one as well.
Absolutely. But the digital mega package is everything that we've ever put out. 1, 2, 3, go. For $30, I think it's over 500 pages worth of reading. Yeah.
Holy moly. Yeah, I wanted to see here. Okay, so digital package, you have a description there. All right. So Viking, Story of the North, one shot. Side reel Apogee 1 through 6. Gunmetal Black Ops 1 through 4. Santa Claus 1 and 2. Malik Reigning Devil 1 and 2. Superliminal Latency 13th Moon Volumes 1 and 2. Trouble number 1 and the short stories Bluetooth and the CG rendered man. Wow. For $30 is a steal.
Yeah, I mean, the other half of it is too. As a writer, I just love having people read my stuff. So,
Yeah.
if I give you everything, I'm sure you're reading part of it.
Right. And it's like it's all different things. So, they'll find something they like in there. Absolutely. If not all of it, which is great.
Yeah, hopefully.
All right. And here's
The
okay. Do the portrait. I'm like going through here because sometimes it's bigger. Let's do it this way. Do. Portrait duo number 1. So portraits, these are people. And is he drawing these in with like ink pen or like what's his method here?
I think ink. I think he does penciling first on some of it, but yeah, it's mostly done in ink.
Because these are beautiful. His line work is amazing. Being able to elicit the shadows just with, line work is really tough.
Yeah, he's been drawing for years. Jeff told me not to draw too much attention to it, but he used to draw for Charlie Hebdo. And he wasn't involved in any controversial pictures of the Prophet Muhammad, but he did, as a Catholic, mock the Catholic Church quite a bit.
Oh,
so he is like an experienced artist who's been doing this for years.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was gonna say it is very apparent that he is skilled in his craft, just based off of these. It's just beautiful. Portrait number 2. What were you gonna say?
Oh, that Scully one, the Scotty. She's a frost giant who was adopted by the gods. That one was already taken, but that's a brilliant image as well.
Oh, this one?
Yeah, that woman right there.
Gotcha.
At the top of the page. Yep, and then there's Odin being hung from the tree. That's part of his mythological origin.
Dang it, Odin.
Well, I think he had them do it to him on purpose so that he could attain knowledge, and
Yeah.
It worked.
He learned the runes during this ritual, which is why I had him draw a spider spelling out the word runes on the web. Oh.
Yeah, I kind of commissioned that one. We needed a whole page to discuss the mythology, and yeah, so I specifically kind of there's a sketch somewhere of a stick figure in that position.
Is that one up for grabs too? I'm just curious.
I think that one was also already snatched up. Yeah.
It was. Okay, I was joking, but that's amazing. Put the stick figure up. Absolutely.
Oh no! Oh, I misunderstood. Yes, the finished one is taken.
Yeah,
the stick figure isn't even offered.
Yeah, some people like that stuff. I've seen sketch covers with stick figures go.
If I could find the page, I might put it up then.
There you go. All right, here's another one. Oh, and the head is cut off, man. I wish we could see. One of a kind, 14 by 17. These are big.
Clicking on the image won't show us the whole image.
Unfortunately, no.
Oh, all right.
Who is Egil?
I think that was one of that's a bard, or a skald, an actual historical figure. I think.
Gotcha.
I think
this one is big. 14 by 17.
That one was.
This one.
And that one is another one that made it into the book. It's one of the panels on the last couple pages.
Gotcha. Yep. Okay. Say that for me. Varney. I can't say it.
I don't see the word. I might be able to pull it up. I know what it is. It's a Varangian or something.
Yes. Varangian guard.
Varangian. Yes, and they were for hundreds of years actually that the Byzantine Empire had a special guard just of like Vikings. Um, and their loyalty was bought, with money, but it was also just an honor and a distinction to serve the Byzantine Emperor. And that went on long after the Viking Age. That for several centuries after that, they still sought out Nordic people as their mercenaries in that particular royal guard.
This one looks like Thanos on the bottom. I don't know if you can see my mouse. I was like, Thanos has a wig. Valkyrie. Ooh, look at these. Valkyrie duo. This one's gone. Yep.
Yeah.
Quantity, none left. Wow. I would love
one of a kind, people.
Adriana, color these. 8x11 drawing of 2 Viking warrior women destined to be Valkyrie. And Adriana, when she colors, is she coloring digitally as well, or is she coloring?
Yeah.
She is. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, these are beautiful.
And she will be the colorist on that new book too, the Vikings Arctic Passage book. She'll be the colorist. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I love when someone says their name is Old Dirty Fatty. I think that's hilarious. And then when people greet them, it says, "Hey, Fatty."
Okay.
It makes me chuckle. All right, this one is this is the horses. So again, beautiful, one of a kind. And sorry, there is none left. It has been eaten up. Someone has grabbed it. Ink drawing Berserker Throne. This one is gone.
That's the one I just showed you. Yeah.
And then hand-drawn Vikings holding court image. Again, beautiful. These are amazing, amazing, amazing. Yeah, this is just a beautiful book.
Yeah, I definitely found a great artist to work with.
I think so. So lots of options for original art and very reasonably priced. And these are all physical. These are not digital. They're not prints. They're original art drawn and inked by the artist from the book, Jose Ernesto Diaz. And Phoebe will ship them to you from wherever you are. That's amazing.
And we had a couple people, or at least one backer, who wanted to get the original art, but I don't think the book is offered with it in that reward tier. He messaged me directly, and I was like, "Yes, I'll definitely send you the book if that's what you want as well."
Yes.
I was going to send them the digital one, but if you're bucking up like almost $100 for this, I can send you the book as well.
Yeah, and that's what people forget sometimes. They're like, "Oh, I don't see what I want." Oh, well, it's like, no, contact the showrunner, contact Phoebe, contact the creator. A lot of times, we'll make special arrangements for you to get what you want, so that way, more people can come along for the ride.
Yeah.
Why not? If you want something specific, let us know.
Yeah, I mean, Kickstarter allows you to message the people directly, so
got some
reach out and contact.
Ooh, you were adding some stuff. Very cool.
Yeah, some of those one-of-a-kind drawings were not on the initial page. I had to add them later.
Gotcha.
And I have 4 more now to add, too. Like I said, the ones that are still in Guatemala. But I'll get that up there for that last week push.
Yes. All right. I'm going to drop the link in the comments for everybody. Here you are to head over and go check out this campaign. There's 11 days to go. Plenty of beautiful art and books to get there. So make sure you go give it a look. And don't forget to do this. Saw you dancing in the background. That's awesome. Because that's what I'm doing. I'm always dancing in the background when that song comes on.
Awesome.
Yeah. So tell me about future plans. So you last time you were on, you were working on that super liminal latency, which is now printed, and you printed another short story, which is amazing. What's the future plans for you? Let's talk about it.
Okay. So one of the things I'm working on writing right now is finishing that Bluetooth story. I think that I don't know if we saw where it's offered, but a lot of people will be getting. It's like a $3 add-on, and it's also in the digital mega package. That is a magical realism story that tells the tale of Harald Bluetooth Gormason, the first king of Denmark in the historical sense, but then it also sort of crosses off into fantasy and then into sci-fi. And by the third part of the story, he is basically Bluetooth technology itself. Like he has all this information punching holes through his soul, and like it's very disorienting. And yeah, so I kind of tell that tale through to its completion. And that one is heavily inspired by Borges. I've been reading a lot of magical realism in the last year, and so I'll read some brilliant Borges, and then I'll sit down and have another paragraph or two to spit out, just based on the weirdness of his own brain, the way it meshes with my brain. But so I'm almost done with that. Otherwise, comic books that we have coming up. Moloch, the next two Moloch books will come out together. That'll be Kickstarter that Jeff runs. That'll be Moloch #3 and Moloch in Pride's Maw, which is a one-shot that sort of goes parallel to the series we have going on. And I had an idea for Pride is one of the 7 sins. In issue #1 of Moloch, we had him fight like two of the sins. I think he fights lust and gluttony in the first book, and then just off screen or off page, it's assumed that he beats the other ones. And I had like a whole idea for a story on him versus Pride, and I pitched it to Jeff because it's his character really, and he liked it. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to do that book, and we'll launch it at the same time as Moloch #3, but it'll be kind of like an incentive. Like if you buy the physical copy of Moloch #3, we'll give you the digital copy of Pride's Maw, the one shot, for automatically. So I'm almost done with that one. I think I have like maybe 17 out of 20 pages on that one done. And working with a new colorist on that one as well. My friend in Argentina. And that is another one with a unique color scheme in that it is just not exactly duotone, but it's mostly between pink and purple, on the spectrum of pink to purple, and with some color highlighting with like a blue hue, just for certain accenting. So that art is pretty awesome. I've been getting pages back of that. We have Sidereal Apogee #7, and we have at least one of the stories completely drawn. I have another story completely written that I'm working with an artist. Hopefully, I'm putting that to paper or digitally drawing that. My friend Ben in Philadelphia is going to draw the second story for that.
Okay.
We have
Keep going.
We have 13th Moon Volume 3. We're working on. I have most of the pages for that. I haven't really started the lettering on that, but we have maybe about 40 pages of story for that one. I think it was 42. But then I have a story that I wrote a couple years ago, and we did the art. I did the lettering. It's for a book that was going to be Florida Manthology, which is Florida Man stories. Like,
oh, yes.
It's always on. But what we did was we were allowed to either retell an actual Florida Man story or make up a Florida Man story, and then the fun of the book was going to be like guessing which it was. Like, is this real?
That's what I
or
was
is
going
this
to say. That's awesome. And then we as the reader have to figure out which ones are made up or not. That would be hilarious.
Yeah. Well, that was a Kickstarter that a friend of mine had been putting together, and my story was already done for it. So, but it kind of like stalled out, and I don't know if we're ever completing that book and going to Kickstarter with it. But my pages are done, so I think we're going to put that 8-page story into 13th Moon Volume 3 because it's weird enough. It's kind of a horror in its own way. So, so I think we'll add that, and then maybe by next Halloween we'll launch that 13th Moon Volume 3.
Okay.
It's kind of been working out every other year. We do a Halloween volume, basically. And yeah, that's mostly what I'm working on. I also have a book that I'm working on in the background. I don't know if I brought that up at all last time. And the book is kind of it's a multiverse sort of story. You know, it has different dimensions with different timelines, but it's basically about a timeline in the deep future that has mastered the technology of sending someone's mind back into a body way in the past. And but what they do is they'll like take ideas from that era, but like a little bit in the future, and send them a little bit further back so that they can be the one that is invents the thing or does the thing or whatever. And we
Interesting.
kind of concentrate on an alternate universe version of the Wu-Tang Clan, and where there are these people that are, and that they'll send these like rich white dudes from the future back into the body of like a young African American, but with all of the lyrical knowledge of Tupac and Biggie Smalls from like 15 years before Biggie Smalls comes out. So it's kind of like this whole co-opting of hip hop culture, and it's also sci-fi. It's really weird, and I've been working on it for a year or two. I have at least like 7 or 8 chapters done and the whole thing outlined. But that's also like the passion project that every now and then I go back to. I have a lot of other stuff that's first priority.
Yes.
But yeah, so I have that working in the background on the back burner.
Okay, I have a lot of questions after hearing all that. First and foremost, how do you decide which project to work on next? And I know sometimes, like, obviously, deadlines and, you know, like things that need to be published, but like your passion projects and the things that you've been working on and developing, how do you sort through all of that and choose what to work on?
Well, like I knew that I had this commitment to Jose to try to fund his book, and so that's why I put this on the forefront for a lot of the last half a year. This was one of my priorities because I knew his art was all done, and all that was left was my half of it, doing the lettering, doing the graphic design elements, and running the Kickstarter. So that was my priority for a lot of the last couple months. The other thing I think that determines, though, comic books, which comic book I'm working on, if it isn't something like that has a certain promised like deadline by which time we're going to launch or whatever, is the rate at which my artists work. Like I just hit up one of my best artists the other day, and I guess the last message I had from him was in August about, he was going to follow up with 2 more pages, the last 2 pages of a 10-page story, and we talked about it in August. And I've been distracted enough, like doing other stuff, that when I hit him up the other day about it, he's like, "Oh yeah, sorry, it's late. I'm late. Sorry, I'll get that to you." It's like, no, I have infinite patience for you. Your art is so good. You live 20,000 miles away. Like, I can't really just stop by your house and see how you're doing. It does take email and time. So I appreciate that you're doing it at all. But yeah, please get me those pages. Please get me those pages, and we'll get the story done. So I think that is a big factor, is the rate at which my artists can work. Some people have really quick turnaround, and other people are really doing this like 10 hours a day for other people as well. So like they may love your project and love, you know, working with you, but still they have other shit on the plate. So
yep, that's how it goes. That's my artist as well. It's like I have to plan in advance when he's going to be able to do our comic because of books that he works on in between. Glenn says, I rarely get a block of any kind. I have so many different things on my drawing board. My head spins. And I think as creators, I'm sure Phoebe and I can both attest to the same thing. There's so many things that we're working on. It's like, all right, what am I working on today? But that was my question, is like, how do you prioritize between all the different projects? But that makes perfect sense. Like, okay, this artist is almost done. That's the next one. You know, when you're done, you'll be next. So whoever is kind of in the hopper, you know, working on stuff. Hey, Carissa. Nice to see you. Thanks for tuning in. She's my sister from another mister.
Oh, cool.
Right? Now, go ahead.
Our next Kickstarter launch is probably going to be the Moloch books, though.
Gotcha.
We've been working on Moloch #3 for a while, and that's still like our flagship character for 123 Go. Is probably Moloch is the most. We have the most pages written about Moloch at this point, I think. And yeah, he's a fun character. Those are fun books. So I think in 2024, our priority as far as Kickstarter will be to launch that Moloch #3 successfully.
Gotcha. What can you pitch Moloch to everybody?
Oh yeah, sure. So Moloch Reigning Devil is it's now a 6-issue series. We're up to #3 we're about to drop. But we have the story plotted out all the way through the end of #6. And it started in Gunmetal Black Ops #1, which was the first story I did with Jeff. And his story was about an angel that is sent to hell, and he's supposed to assassinate Lucifer. And at the end of that story, he assassinates Lucifer, but he learns that in killing the devil, he is now the new devil. He's in charge of hell. So
Guess what? You just get to wear the hat now.
You have a job. Yeah, you have
Right.
a job. And and not all of the demons immediately like are subservient to him. A lot of them are rebellious and try to take over hell on their own. So the first couple issues are him just bringing all the demons under his command, and he fights some major wars in hell against all the other demons. And but then the third issue is once he's got command of hell, he's like, well, I still don't know how to invade heaven, which is now his main motivation. He's like mad at God for leaving him in hell. So he's like, I want to get revenge on God. But he doesn't know how to get into heaven, so he goes to Limbo to visit Lucifer in issue #3 to get the plan from Lucifer that God was so threatened by. And then issue 4 and 5 will be him invading heaven, and then issue 6 is mostly a battle between him and God, and also the consequences of like what the universe looks like after this battle between Moloch and the Creator.
Oh crap. If I were Lucifer, I probably wouldn't be too apt to help this guy. Be like, you came in and you dethroned me, and now you want me to help you? Like, you should have had
I don't think no, he well, I mean, Moloch is a tool basically, like initially, like he's like, just God's weapon. Actually, I think that might be what Moloch La Mashet is, I think, a Hebrew word that Jeff put in there, and I think it just means the destroyer. That's all that he is. He's supposed to be God's destroyer. We tell some older stories about him. In 13th Moon, we started to insert some prequel stories about Moloch back in the age of like Sodom and Gomorrah and like the Book of Enoch, which is non-canonical Christian gospel, but it's mostly about giants that were born when the angels had children with human women, and then this race of giants. Yes, exactly. So that's not widely accepted as canonical truth by most Christian religions, but since it's out there, we tied it into our stuff, and we have some cool stories with giants and cyclopses, and where Moloch interacts with them. Yeah, thanks. It's a lot of fun. And that's, I think, Jeff also draws from both biblical things that are said about the various angels, gods, etc. And also, though, Dante's Inferno, we draw from that. We draw from a number of different places, both fictitious and canonical religiously, to build our Moloch world. And it's been a lot of fun. Yeah, Moloch is a great book.
Yeah, that sounds like something I'm definitely interested in. I love the paranormal and like delving into how that supernatural works. You know what I mean? And it's like Satan is he really a bad guy, or is he doing what God tells him to do because God's all powerful and he's just doing a job? And you know what I mean? And did God put him there, or was there really a rebellion? Like, how did that all play out? Also, what do angels really look like? Do they look like those scary 15 eyes and 7 wings and you know what I mean? Or, and now in society, we portray them as like beautiful people with long flowing hair and wings, but it's like, that's not what the Bible says they look like. They're frightening.
Well, we drew them as the beautiful people with long hair and wings. However, we also distinguish them by having them all be colored like bright yellow, like they're shining light out of them at all times. So that is a identifier for the angels in our books. They'll be first this bright yellow light, and then they'll be like shining with it at all times.
I wonder if they can shapeshift, because how else would they have children with human women if they were a big eyeball with 17 wings.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I personally don't believe in any of those things. So
Right?
I have no problem writing it off as somebody was high
Oh, I
2,000
don't
years
understand.
ago and made up a story. So
Yeah, I need to block this somehow.
are we getting
Pops.
spammed?
Pops. Yeah, bots. At least it's not as bad as the other one that showed up a few weeks ago that was like, Laurie, your house is on fire. Laurie, your house is on fire. Laurie, call 911. And I was like, what? And it was like 15 of them came through all at once. And I was like, I don't know what's happening. Pop, save me.
That's
like,
crazy. Yeah. Were you sitting in your house? Like, no, it's not on fire.
Yeah, I was like, should I go check? Pops was like, this is a bot. And I was like, okay, thank God. I was like, I've never seen one come through that was like, call 911. I was like, excuse me, what?
Yeah, no, that's problems. That's instigating trouble.
Yeah, I was like, the computer says my house is on fire. Like, how would that conversation go? Anyway, back to our conversation. Let's see. Glenn says, I'm clicking on it. Come on, buttons. It's like, work. There it goes. Because I draw ink color, right? To draw ink color and hand letter. Jeez. The whole thing before I designed the book, I got a lot of different disciplines to keep my mind focused. Yes, you do. I don't know how one person is capable of doing all of those things because I do like two things well. And it just, I feel like the artist part takes so many years to master that it's like maybe I could do that if I were to start studying from now, and then in 10 years I would be ready to draw my first comic. So that's why I'm like, no, I'm just gonna hire somebody.
Yeah.
Funny.
Oh, absolutely. I was stumbling. I couldn't remember her name before, but the colorist that I'm working with on Moloch in Pride's Ball one shot is Leila Kovac in Argentina. She's pretty awesome.
Oh, okay.
Just want to make sure I shouted her out.
That's another question I had for you is you have a lot of international artists. How are you finding them?
I mean, the Facebook comic book forums, you really just got to kind of either respond to someone who's posting or put a post out there like seeking a colorist, seeking a line artist, etc. Message me to discuss rates because I generally won't put my rates out in public because it changes from artist to artist. Different people can afford to work at different rates. Money has a different value in different places, which is why I wind up working with a lot of people in Southeast Asia or South America. It's that like our money goes so much further there that like you're paying them a working wage as compared to if I'm like, hey, can you work for $40 a page for a line artist in America? And they're like, no, I don't have the time to do that. Like, okay, well, my $40 in the Philippines is like $400, so like they can afford to do that.
Right. So how do you vet your artists though? Because as a creator, I know this has probably happened to you. It's happened to me where we hire people and they maybe start to work and then you pay them some money and then they disappear. So what do you do to try and fix that? Yeah, that's happened to me. That's definitely happened to me a few times. I think the way my favorite way to vet starts with checking how many mutual friends we have on Facebook these days. You're like, oh, you know those people, and like you haven't screwed them over in a way that they've blocked you, then all right, I'll give you a first shot. If it's only costing me like $100 to learn that you're, somebody that screws people over, okay, at least I didn't get $600 invested in it before you screwed me over. So, yeah. And I think that, the more that you are active in any of those online communities, the more that people will actually get called out. Like, oh, wait, you're working with that person? I wouldn't. Like, let me tell you why. Like, so, there are a couple artists that if I saw people working with them, I'd give them a big like warning, like, hey, this person definitely screwed me over on this thing. So, which is why it's good to have like a community that is interactive and talks about, good things and bad things in our independent comic book world. Agreed. I'm with you on that. I find a lot of suggestions. I've learned a lot of things in my journey, just from being a part of the community, being part of the Madness Comic Network, and all of the wonderful groups that I'm a part of have all helped me continue on my journey. I think that alongside of that, I always look at this is hard too. Now, I want to pick your brain on this because you're always trying to. There's always someone new, right? An artist who is just getting into the game and their rates are attractive. And maybe it's like the new hot shot that we want to give a shot, but they have no resume and they have nothing, right? For those of us who are looking for artists, that's a few things we look for as well as how many books have you completed? Because that tells me again that you're finishing things, maybe not hitting deadlines, but you're finishing things. And I can at least talk to that other creator to see if they recommend you or not. But at least they're getting done. But for that new person, I don't know. Are you willing to risk a new person?
Usually I am. It depends on the art. It will definitely depend on how good their art looks. But like I said, like I only put like 50% down on a thing like that, and I take it a few pages at a time. I don't do like, hey, 22-page story. Let me give you 50% on the whole 22 pages.
Right.
I'm like, hey, let's do the first 4 pages. Here's 50% on the first 4 pages. And from there, analyze how long the turnaround is and stuff like that. How well they are. And when it's someone who English is a second language, like how well are they actually interpreting what you put into your script? I've definitely had some artists that have done things that's like, that's not actually what we said.
Right.
And then like, can we still work with this? Or do I have to like make them redraw it? Because and it's a judgment call. Like sometimes you're like, all right, I could kind of rework the details of the story around that little thing. Other times it's like, wait, no, because of the action on the page, I really need you to redo that whole panel. And things like that. Like if they're willing to make corrections and how long the turnaround is on that. Like I've definitely met some artists that are indignant when you're like, wait, we need to change this. And I'm like, it's not really even, it's actually your mistake that we're changing. It's not like I decided to change the script later.
Right.
You just misinterpreted the script wrong. There's a variety of factors that go into determining whether I want to continue a relationship with an artist. Also, I think I don't do whole books all the time. A lot of my books are anthology books. So it comes down to like, hey, can I get this 10 pages done with this person? Can I get this 8 pages done with this person? And oh my God, this is kind of a horror story that so we have a story going into Gunmetal Black Ops #4. Okay. It's called Durango 3.0. Durango 3.0. And a few years ago, I was contacted by, or I contacted someone who was posting, their rates and their availability, looking for gigs. And it's a studio out of the Philippines. Well, I guess they're kind of like hot shit in the Philippines.
Okay.
But this is like 4 years, and the art is amazing. The art is incredible. But like they did the first 6 pages, they did the line art. It's good. We got the line art done. Then the first 4 pages are colored. And then for 2 years, I don't hear back from them. Like it's literally been 4. Yeah, it's been like 4 years to try to complete this. Where eventually I got to the point where it's like, you know what? Screw you. I don't ever want to work with you again.
Yeah.
Like this is ridiculous. And I'm going to go find another colorist to do it. And so, and then I tried 2 or 3 other colorists that just could not emulate their style because they're really freaking good. And it's like, so I paid a couple people to take a shot at it. They were like, hey, we tried, but sorry, I'm not going to be able to do this for you. And finally, Layla, who I mentioned before, was able to do a rendition of it that is close enough to their style that I'm happy to put that story out. But that's a 6-page story. A 6-page story that took me 5 years to put out. Like, that's ridiculous.
See, I think that cracks me up about something, for people in our, line of work where you're as a creator, it's like I have scripts that I've written before Path of the Pale Rider that are going to be coming out hopefully after Path of the Pale Rider. Right. And so people don't understand how much time there is between inception and completion. It's like movies, you know what I mean? It's like when you're watching it, you're watching the past. It took them 3 years to make this thing. So, but it just cracks me up that something as 6 pages could be as laborious because of technical problems in production. Happens all the time. And that I'm so sorry that happened to you, and I feel your pain. I had to fire a colorist, same thing, like in the middle of the job, she just stopped communicating, and I was like, I have no idea what happened, so I have to move on. Like,
Yeah.
oh well, like,
One of the original co-founders of 123 Go Publications is my friend Edwin Romithio, who is in Africa, Uganda. And at some point, he just stopped messaging back, and I don't know if he's dead or what. Like, I have no fucking clue.
That's no good.
Sorry?
I said that's no good. He just disappeared.
Yeah.
What happened to you?
And he was 7 pages into like a 10-page story that we were almost done. So, like, I'm not going to try to get someone to emulate his art. I'm going to pay someone new to redo the whole story.
Yeah. So. I'm so sorry to hear that. I hope he's okay.
Yeah, I hope he's okay too. I think sometimes with some of these third world nations where their culture is not as progressive or as American culture is, just being transgender is enough to scare some of them off. So, like, yeah.
Did you not know, or?
Maybe not. Maybe I don't know. It doesn't really matter. But like, I know.
No, but still, it's like, what happened?
Yeah. Well, I mean, with that Filipino studio that I mentioned, I'm pretty sure it was transphobia as well. That in working with some of my other Filipino coworkers, they're like, "Oh yeah, no, we're hella fucking homophobic and transphobic here. Didn't you know that?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't."
You're very,
okay,
very
cool.
conservative. Yes, very conservative over there. Yeah.
So,
I just wanted to. Glenn has an argument with himself about writing and art. He says, writers always blame the artist. I should know. I argue with myself about that. Glenn, you're arguing with yourself, buddy. And then he says, 4 years, geez, for 6 pages. I've done that in a week, and I hand paint. Oh, geez. Rub it in. Why don't you?
I don't think they could emulate the style that we went with. But yes, it's definitely digital painting.
Yeah, that's too bad. I don't know.
It's okay. We finally got it done.
What?
We finally got it done, so I'm happy.
Oh, gotta protect yourself, man. You really do. I have protection as well. You have to. All right, so back to our conversation. I was gonna ask you. You write in so many different genres. What's your favorite?
Mm-hmm. In general, cyberpunk, sci-fi, but at the moment, magical realism. So yeah, it's just kind of my topic du jour, genre du jour. But overall, I'll always return to cyberpunk, and yeah.
What is it about cyberpunk that attracts you to that genre?
I guess it's a big hackers world, and it's also all the regular sci-fi elements. And if you, I forget what I read recently about someone complaining about a cyberpunk story involving corporate espionage or this or that, and I was like, that's the heart of cyberpunk.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
cyberpunk
isn't that where
from day one,
right? Like that's the whole point. Take down the machine.
Yeah, manipulation of information and just at a global scale or on a mainstream media scale. But yeah, it's a lot of hacker stories and technology stories, but also it's a space for all the classical sci-fi things like robots, cyborgs, stuff like that. Then it gets into more interesting elements of that, like in our first issue of Serial Apogee. They're cyborgs, but in order to modify a gun in the middle of a battle, the one character like rips her leg open because she knows she has like enough power generation in this one leg or whatever, and pulls out the thing that modifies her gun and lets her blow away the dinosaur that she's fighting.
She's fighting a dinosaur.
So like, yes, and then In the distant future, on Earth, dinosaurs run the planet. Yes, um, in
Dang
in
it,
my
it's
world,
come full circle.
they escaped from a zoo in Idaho. Yeah,
In
when America
Idaho,
collapsed, they escaped from the zoo. Yes.
John
Um,
Hammond
so
lives
they
in Idaho and has brought dinosaurs to
well, it is based on a Jurassic Park sort of
Park.
scenario. But yeah, so and I think that's part of both punk culture, and when we talk about music or art, and cyberpunk when we talk about the science genre. It's about one of the main central themes is repurposing. So it's like
Ah,
something may have originally have been meant to be used this way, but in the heat of the moment or for tactical reasons, you repurpose it in this other way. And I think that's at the heart of all punk and cyberpunk.
and I think apocalypse stories too. That's kind of like my jam, is I live in the apocalypse in my mind. And so a lot of times they're finding the things on the road or finding things on their journey and then repurposing it to what they need, in their immediate needs, as opposed to, oh, well, I can't use this for anything. I'm like, oh, I could use it for this. Or even like the places in my story, there was a hair salon that got repurposed to a saloon. All they had to do was add an extra O.
And
Because I don't know if
just
we're gonna
add
be
booze.
what? Gotta have that booze in the
Just
apocalypse.
add booze.
Yeah, pretty much. I was like, I don't know if we're gonna be doing hair and nails in the apocalypse, but we'll certainly be drinking whiskey. So out of all those
I
genres
mean,
that you write, which is your least favorite?
mm, I don't know. I mean, maybe horror. And I write a bunch of it, but like,
Yeah.
just as far as it's harder to write sometimes. Like these are characters that often you'll really care about, and you're like, now I have to do horrible things to them.
Yep, this is true. You don't drink the tears of your
um,
readers like I do?
no, I do not.
Where I'm
um,
like, "Oh, it's
but
so
I think
sad. Are you upset? Give me the tea."
I think though also comedy. When I write comedy, I love writing it,
Oh,
but it's maybe a little bit harder because like I know it's funny to me. I know like if I get through a story, I'm like, oh yeah, that was kind of funny when you did this and that. But then like when I give it to someone else, it's like, is this still funny? I mean, it's gonna make me laugh, but is anyone else gonna laugh? So I
yeah,
think comedy
yeah.
might be harder to write. And yeah, horror, it's just you have to do mean things to your characters.
See, I don't have a problem doing mean things to characters, but I'm with you where it's like comedy, I second guess, where I think things are hilarious, and maybe like the 3 people that share my dark humor think it's funny, but other than that, people are like, "Ew, Laurie, that's gross." Like, it's funny, no?
Or
I guess not.
or it'll be just like too nuanced, like some of the jokes on Archer
Yeah,
where you're like they're referencing really obscure shit, and you're like, that's really funny if you know anything about this real
this
specific thing.
one thing,
Like,
right.
so,
And I was like, this whole
yeah.
scene I
So,
mimicked from a movie, and I'm like, "If you've seen that movie, this makes perfect sense." I'm like, "But again, have you seen that
oh,
movie?"
yeah, we did. Okay, so in Gunmetal Black Ops #4, we did we have a pair of characters that are drawn by and invented by Frederick B. Roseman of Mississippi, United States, and his characters are Jade Lion and Black Cauldron, and they are a female assassin couple. They're both like lovers and a team of killers. And
Nice.
so in the latest story, as they're like having a shootout at the Great Pyramid and the Sphinx, I have them doing Quentin Tarantino quotes. So they're like
Yes.
trying to get the most Quentin Tarantino quotes in as possible while they're fighting these, terrorists, international terrorists or whatever.
See,
Um,
stuff
so
like
like,
that, I
eh, eh,
I truly appreciate as a reader, because if I've read it and I'm like, "Easter egg," and, like, I point it out to everybody I know, like, "Did you see the thing? Did you read this? Because it has the thing in it."
mhm,
That's totally me where I'm like, I
yeah,
appreciate that too. So, I was reading one recently. Which one was it? Oh, my artist Marco DeFio, his another book that he does is called Malka, which is like an apocalypse on the island of Hawaii. I think it's on the main island, where they can't leave
okay,
the island. They have no electricity, and they become very tribal. And this young man is looking for his family, and he's out with. There's 2 of them, and they're picking fights and trying to get information. And I think at one point they were racing back to their compound, and there was a Backstreet Boys lyric thrown in there, and I was like, "Wait a minute!" I was like, "Did I just read that?" So I had to tell Marco. I was like, "I saw this," and he was like, "Oh yeah, that's totally King Eddie's, humor." And I was like, "You tell him I thought it was hilarious. Thank you." So I
Awesome.
love it when people do stuff like that. But again, is it funny to everybody, or is it just goes way over their head?
Yeah. Yeah. That's so in 13th Moon Volume 3, the cover story, the lead story is my character Trouble, which Trouble #1 is a free download on indieplanet/123go, indieplanet.com/123go. And she is the main character in our lead story in 13th Moon Volume 3, and it's her versus Cthulhu. And it is definitely a comedy, but like when I finished the script, I wanted to send it to a bunch of people and be like, "Hey, is this funny?" Like,
Yeah.
because I don't want my comedy to not get laughs. And I did have
Right?
some beta readers come back and be like, "Yeah, nope, this is funny. This is good."
That was actually
So,
going to be my next question: is how many people do you have beta testers that are out there, and like, do you use the same ones, or do you find new ones based off of what you're writing? Like, how do you test that you're funny? So you have beta testers.
um,
How many?
yeah. There are definitely maybe like a half dozen friends that are willing to look at my books, usually my stories. I also have a professional editor that I pay him to read my stuff.
Mhm.
And the But yeah, I would not say that it's consistently any one person. I did have a friend a couple years ago that was regularly my a beta reader for me that passed away. That he was probably one of the best beta readers I had because he'd give back like critical response, not like one
Yes.
word answers. But yeah, Trouble #1. I don't. Did we post that up there? Did we show them?
Ta-da! Is it
It's the
here?
one at the bottom. Keep going. Yeah,
YouTube.
keep
There
going.
it is.
Keep
This one,
going.
right?
That one. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
And yeah, so she is our main character in the cover story for 13th Moon Volume 3. She fights
Awesome.
Cthulhu.
She fights
Yeah.
Cthulhu.
One lady
Good luck.
versus Cthulhu. Yes.
Good luck, lady. And looking fabulous while doing it, hopefully. Gosh.
Oh yeah, actually she's doing a cosplay in that one. That one starts off with she has like a sidekick, and her sidekick is a like 12-year-old orphaned computer hacker. And so they're going to a hacker convention together, and she cosplays as like her favorite cartoon character. And she's like, why are you dressed like as that character? She's like, it's a convention. She's like, this is not that type of convention.
Wrong convention.
Yeah.
You don't know. Okay, you're gonna stand out anyway, but congratulations.
Yeah. So yeah, she's dressed as a cat for her whole fight versus Cthulhu. She's dressed as a cat.
That's awesome. Oh wait, here's the dinosaur.
Thank you.
Look.
Yep. Yes. Yes.
Amazing. Corporate
Thank
paramilitary
you.
police. Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the
somebody
cyberpunk anthology.
want to copy and paste this into the chat as well for people that are looking to find Phoebe's website. Here it is. Go to this
Yeah,
one
free
right
stuff in there
here.
too.
Cool.
13th Moon Volume 1 is free. Gunmetal Black Ops #2 is free, and Trouble #1 is free for free digital downloads.
Here's 13th Moon. Let's take a look. Ooh, I like it.
That's another one that starts with a comedy the first 15 pages, then the stories get progressively darker.
This reminds me of Scott Pilgrim. Yeah, that's it. That's it. I nailed it. Scott Pilgrim. For sure.
We'll take it.
Yeah.
We'll take that as a compliment.
52 pages. Oh, it's a trade.
Mhm.
Okay. I was like, holy moly.
I think there's like 7 stories in that one.
Okay. So yeah, starts out. That's awesome. So 7, a compilation is 7 in there. Whoops, wrong way. Gunmetal
No
Black
worries.
Ops. So many cool things. Gosh, man. Oh,
That's
this is
the
your
couple that I was
Assassin's
talking about.
Yeah.
And Schwenchen Bunag does the covers on some of these. Actually, he does all the interior art on Trouble as well. His regular gig, his day-to-day gig, is he's a hentai artist. So, like, I think
Makes
somebody asked me about like how racy it is to have these girls with their boobs smashing together while they're kissing and shooting people. I'm like, you have no idea what he usually does.
Like, what are you talking
that-
about? Have you not looked at comics?
I mean, and that is really tame compared to like what he does day to day.
Yeah, right? He does hentai. It's a lot worse. Cracks me up because people are like, "Oh my god, so racy," and I'm like, "Welcome to comics."
Yeah.
Like, welcome to
Boob cell.
Right, exactly. I think my artist put it very tactfully. He's like, because I had commissioned a variant cover for mine that was racy and had some bits. And we had to censor it. And he was like, how come you didn't ask me to do a spicy cover? And I was like, I don't know. I just didn't think about it. I want you to do like the legitimate cover that's going to go like in the store. And he was like, I can draw celestial bodies. I will keep that in mind. But now that's what I think of it. You know, anytime I see like the perfect form or like the exaggerated form, both male and female in the comics, it's like it's a celestial body. That's what we call it now.
Awesome.
Celestial bodies. This is historic pirate. Oh, Maltese pirates. Oh, you're talking about my people. Assassins in a power. Malta. Poor Malta, man. They've been taken over by everybody, right? For sure.
Sicily as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. If you're an island, they're like, what's this island? You belong to us now. Just come in and take
Yeah,
over.
I think Sicily is also closer to Africa than Europe, mainland Africa than Europe. Yeah.
Right?
Those are, if you're in the Mediterranean in the last 4,000 years, people are interested in your real estate. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Espionage anthology.
But that those are all fictitious. Those are not historically accurate.
Right. Gotcha. Yeah. They're not historically accurate, people. These are meant for entertainment. Pirates.
Yeah. The Vikings book, historical and educational though.
Right. That one that's on Kickstarter right now. This one, people. By the way, if you haven't seen it, go back it. This one. Hello.
Vikings.
Go see it. Go look at it. It's this link right up here. Ta-da.
$1 or a share, anything.
Yeah. And that's what I always have to remind people too. Like, Kickstarter is the most important time for indie creators to help creators continue to make stories. So when people are like, oh, I'll just pick it up after it's done, it's like, this is the important time where I need your support most of all. So that way we can make the comic, we can print it. You know what I mean? Because the art production and the printing are the two biggest costs when it comes to making comics. So if you're interested in, all of these wonderful works, it's great. First, go get this one and then come check out this one. There's an order to things, right? What is Santa Claus?
Santa Claus is another Jeffrey Haas invention, and it is about an evil Santa Claus, basically. A kid that says some rude things to his mom that probably shouldn't have said, and then Santa Claus, evil Santa Claus. You see, it's spelled CLAWS, Claus. Yeah. So evil Santa Claus is like, oh, here's an evil little kid. Let me take advantage of him, and it goes from there.
Cracks me up. Parents reveal to their children Santa
it's a pretty
Claus
dark story.
Real. A much more sinister version of Santa shows up to subvert and capture the kids. Ah, look at that. That's the North Pole?
Yeah, that's his evil castle. And he drives around in that like sports limo or whatever that can fly. Yeah.
Like, where's your reindeer? Oh, there's no reindeer here, sweetheart.
Oh, actually, the reindeer are like Nazis, like literally like dressed as Nazis and have guns and stuff. Yeah.
So it reminds me of the Emerald. What's it from?
Oh, Wizard of Oz?
Yeah, the Emerald City.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, in the background with the guards, and it's that color. But I was like, with the stretch limo in front of it with the fins. Amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, that's Jeff again.
There's a ton of good stuff here, people. Definitely come check this
Thank
out.
you.
Yeah, there's the website again. Is indieplanet.com/123go. Gets you to check out the 123go collection. All the stuff that we've kind of talked about is all here. I did pull up. Where are you? Oh, I clicked off of it. Tell us your social media as well, because I was on the Twitter page. We were looking at that.
Yeah, I have an individual Twitter page that I guess I'm sharing now on podcasts since you can't get banned on Twitter anymore.
See.
On Twitter, I'm at Kara Kilgrave 77, which is I stole Purple Girl's name. If anybody knows who Purple Girl is,
Oh, Kara Kilgrave.
Kara Kilgrave 77, yes, spelled with a K. And on Instagram, I'm Phoebe123Go. I hardly ever use Instagram. On Facebook, you can find us at 123Go Publications. We have like a fan group or a fan page or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we have a Twitter page at Go Publication. Yeah, there's me on Twitter.
Yep.
There's another podcast I was on last week.
Ooh.
What else? I don't do like TikTok or any of that other crap. I'm not on Twitch. No, people ask for my Snapchat, and I'm like, I'm 46 years old. What the fuck is Snapchat?
I only laugh because I'm the same way where I'm like, I have Snapchat, but I don't actually use it. Like,
that's why I'm with Instagram. Like, I have an Instagram, but like, I'm not on it. You know.
I need to get better because there's another group I'm a part of, the ASAP Imagination, and their main platform is Instagram. And they're like, Laurie, did you see the thing? And I'm like, oh, nope, gotta go check it out. Like, haven't been on in 2 days. It's like, I wish it would send me notifications like the Facebook Messenger does, but I don't know. I can't figure it. I'm old too. I'm with you. Just check out.
I'm getting better at.
Thank you, Glenn.
I'm getting better at Discord. I'm on a couple Discord groups. Yeah, but that's more for my Jersey Devils or the music that I listen to.
Gotcha. I'm in a couple Discords and I have no idea what I'm doing in there. I usually just sign on and I'm like, what is this? Click off. I don't know. I'm scared.
Yeah, me and some of my friends.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, me and some of my friends.
Dang it. You go. I will be quiet.
We watch concerts together and then like chat while the concerts go on. That's what I do on Discord.
Oh, gotcha. You can watch the concert on Discord, or you're watching it on something else and just chatting on Discord.
There are a couple of streaming services that offer concerts. Yeah, that we watch them on.
Cool. I was going to ask you. No, I forgot it.
Oh no, my fault.
No, it's fine. I'm sure it was something witty and ingenious and smart, and I totally forgot. I'll have to think of it.
It'll pop up later.
Yeah, I'm like, when I stop thinking, like after the show, I'll be like, dang it, here's the question. So are the New Jersey Devils playing today? Is that why you're all decked out?
Yeah, we're playing in Montreal tonight. Yeah. We have 4 games this week. Excited for the next couple games. Excited for this whole season. Yeah, I don't know if you know who Jack Hughes is.
I don't.
Do you know who Jack Hughes is? Number 86.
Okay.
He's basically the next Wayne Gretzky. Even Gretzky has said like, "Oh, this kid plays a lot like me." Yeah. But I don't know if you've ever seen some of the greatest Gretzky goals where he's like actually down behind the goal and he bounces it in off the back of the goalie's head. Like that's what Jack does, and he like regularly does shots like that. He's just an incredible hockey player, and we also have a pretty deep team overall this year. Our goalie situation isn't optimal, but everywhere else we're looking pretty good.
I used to follow hockey when I lived in Michigan because we had the Red Wings and their team was usually good. We would get, if not into the playoffs, really close. We've won Stanley Cup before, but I'm here in Texas now and I don't really follow any of the sports. I don't know what I'm doing.
There was the Dallas Stars for a while. I don't know if they're still down there. There was a Texas team for a minute, but the Devils were rebuilding for the last couple of years, and we were not expected to go as far as we did last year. We got to the second round of the playoffs.
Nice.
And Jack Hughes broke our franchise record for most points in the season. He already has 10 points in 4 games. Like big things coming from this team. Yeah,
that's nice. That's exciting. When is the Stanley Cup coming? When is that?
I think Playoffs start. I think in April.
Oh,
Mid to late
it's always in
April.
the fall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm wrong. I don't know.
No. The cup will be done by like June. Yeah, between April to June is the playoffs.
Is that right? Yeah, you're right.
Mhm.
I was just trying to remember. I'm
Mhm.
like, when was the parade? It is in the summer. And I was like, I thought it
Mhm.
was in the fall, but no, it's in the summer. So how do
Nope,
you
the
find to do all
WNBA
these
final
things,
just happened.
Phoebe? It's like you watch sports, you watch concerts, you're on all
Mhm.
sorts of social media, and you write all these things. Do you sleep?
I take 3 days off from work a week.
That's nice. I wish I
3 day
could.
weekend. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you get to write one day, write 2 days, and then relax a third day.
Or just write during the day and then watch sports and concerts at night.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Mhm.
Do you
Also, I don't get caught up in like football.
yeah.
I'm only into the hockey right now. I'm not interested in the football, the basketball, or the baseball.
I don't really follow any of them. I don't feel like I'm knowledgeable enough or that I have time. I'm just so busy doing other things that I just doesn't really catch my interest. You know what I mean?
Really, the only reason I'm back into it is because our team is so good.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
wouldn't
I
be
can see
watching
that.
them if they sucked.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I'm born and raised in Michigan, and we had the Detroit Lions.
Ooh.
It's a tradition
Yeah.
every year to watch on Thanksgiving and watch them just get clobbered.
hmm
Lions are
Well, you had
losing.
Barry Sanders. You had Barry Sanders for a while. He's pretty awesome.
Yeah, but I was a kid when that was going on. He's been gone
He's
for
one of
a
the
while.
all-time greatest running backs. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, we hear tales of Barry Sanders. I don't think I've ever I don't think I have to probably go to YouTube and watch replays.
He was pretty incredible. Yeah, he could stop on a dime, spin in the other direction, breaking them ankles. He was one of the all-time greats. Yeah.
For them ankles. Yeah. Oh Lord, all this it's so hard, what people put their bodies through in order to play sports. It's like the concussions and all the hits, and you're right, the ankles. I can just imagine. My ankles are already weak and I don't play sports. Last thing I need is break an ankle.
Yeah. Aging is real.
For real. Oh, there was one more question about writing I was going to ask you. Do you ever what's your method to writing? Do you have to be in a certain room? Do you have to have music playing, or do you just like sit down and force yourself to write? Do you wake up in the middle of the night and take notes? Like, what is your method?
I will take notes whenever good ideas hit my head. But
Mhm.
usually, a lot of times I'll be directly into a computer. I'll just open a file where ideas go in. But my method is pretty standard insofar as I usually come up with a title first and an ending, and then I fill in the middle. And as long as I know how the story starts and how it ends, like the rest just kind of falls in place. Then I just
Yeah.
kind of start filling in details of what I think is cool to talk about. And then later, a bunch of it will get edited out, maybe, but like as long as I get enough of the story on paper, um, yeah, worry about that later. The old adage, write drunk, edit sober. I definitely, if it's nighttime and I'm writing, I definitely have a beer and probably a doobie on hand, and that's part of my process as well. Being relaxed and a little bit more creative, imaginative.
Yeah, I find that my best ideas come when I'm half asleep, which is so bizarre.
Oh,
I'll wake up and like, I don't know, like kids are up or a dog is up, and I'm literally trying to fall back asleep. And the creative part of my mind is just free to roam. And I will think of these really awesome ideas, but then I have to wake up enough to write them down so I don't forget them by the morning. You know what I mean? But I've had some really good ideas
yeah.
being half asleep, and I was like, "How do you tap into that when you're awake?" It's like that. I think there's a meme where there's a guy, he's like professional writer, and he's staring out the window, and he's like, "Currently working," it's just daydreaming.
I think, and this is something you could probably find on YouTube. You might be able to like listen to theta waves that
Oh,
it'll kind of sync your brain into the type of brain waves that it's having during sleep.
Interesting. I'm gonna
It might
try
be
that.
theta or delta waves. I think you might want to
Okay.
look into either of them, and it's just
Gotcha.
gonna be like a weird like
Yeah. Yeah, I think I've done that
Uh,
for like sleep, where there's a certain frequency or wavelength that will help your brain just relax and fall asleep. So that would be really
mhm.
cool just to do that to try and I don't know, I might fall asleep on my keyboard, but it's worth a try,
Yeah.
right?
What is it? Yeah, hit and miss. You figure it out.
Right. We'll have to figure out the theta. I'll try both and we'll see. We'll check back in next time you're on. I'll be like, theta didn't work. Delta, I fell asleep. Oh, but there's other
There's
kind.
also there's a thing called binaural
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 beats.
yes,
Yeah.
that you need to have headphones in, and it could definitely take you to some weird places meditatively.
I'm gonna
It's
say that.
supposed to kind of like sync the two hemispheres of your brain, like get your right side and left side of the brain kind of working cohesively.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe try that. I definitely was doing that last year in Vermont quite a bit, just for relaxation.
You know what else I tried, which was really crazy? I went to this place where they had sensory deprivation tanks.
Ooh,
Yeah. So the water
I don't know.
is
I don't want to.
yeah, no, you should try it. See what comes out.
Mhm.
It was just a single person tank, and the water has a high content of salt, so you float. The water is just slightly warmer than body temperature, so you're comfortable. You're not too hot, and you're definitely not cold. And they give you these like wax earplugs, and then you can
Okay.
there are lights in there, you can play music, but I turned it all off and I just floated and I felt like I was in outer space. It was the weirdest experience. Like you lose track of time with no sensory, like no music and no light and no sensation. It's like my mind just went to all these different places. And I think it took me a while just to get it to center, and then after that, it's like the ideas started flowing. So I went purposefully with a notebook. So when I was done, I sat in the lobby and I just wrote, anything that came to mind. But now I can't
do
get
you
off their
do
email
you
list. It's like I'm not even in the same
do you
state
ever
anymore.
have you ever watched the Hulu show Dave?
No.
Okay, so it's about the rapper Little Dicky. Have you ever heard of him?
Yeah. Why is it called
Okay,
Dave?
so I think it's the season 2 finale that he goes to Rick Rubin's house to work on a song. But part of the process is first Rick Rubin wants him to go into a sensory deprivation
Yeah.
tank. So he goes to the sensory deprivation tank. He has this elaborate series of hallucinations where he thinks he's already left the tank. Then he wakes up and he's still in the tank. Then he pops out of the tank, runs right into the studio, and just starts freestyling to this beat. And it's like it was very funny.
That's
But I'm
funny.
afraid of that. I don't know. I'm afraid of like I'm not even that claustrophobic, but I don't know how comfortable I would be in a sensory deprivation
Mhm.
tank.
It's definitely a life-changing experience. You go in there and it's like, I don't know if I could even replicate it just floating around in my pool. Like, I don't know. At night, just go in the pool, float around.
Excuse me.
Maybe that will do it.
Well, I think they do sound dampening too, though. Like
They
you're not
do.
getting any outside sound. Yeah.
Right. If you just it turns everything off. And it was like, I wonder if I'm gonna open the what do they call it? The upside down from Stranger Things.
I
Make contact with the upside
hope not.
down. About I didn't, thank goodness, but, I don't know if that was a possibility, but yeah, you go in there with this expectation of what you're gonna have, and it's just a completely different experience, so I'd recommend it to any creative person that's kind of in a rut. It'll get you unstuck in some way, shape, or form, or you might have a hallucination.
Yeah, you
You
might.
might
I
this
recommend like
talk about
a couple beers and marijuana. That's what I recommend.
I think you get the same experience from that, I'm just saying.
Well, it works for me.
Right? Absolutely. I mean, do what works. Sometimes I just go for a walk by myself and it's I hope people don't see me because I'm usually talking to myself as I'm walking because I'm like talking through the script and talking through the dialogue and like trying it out and see what it sounds like and then you pass somebody and you're like, "Oh yeah." And I just put in headphones to pretend I'm talking on the phone. Not talking to anybody, talking to myself. So sometimes the things we do to get those creative juices flowing makes us slightly crazy. Only slightly.
If it gives results, as long as we get the results we want.
Right. You know, there's a lot of insane artists out there back in the day, you know. Speaking of Van Gogh, I don't recommend
I
cutting
got
off
both my
fibers.
ears.
No.
Yeah,
no, keep your ears, keep your fingers, whatever you need. Just keep it, please. don't don't mail parts of yourself to someone, and it generally doesn't work out well. It's not.
Yeah.
But as we wrap up
Chicks
here, I
don't
just want to
dig that.
remind. What's that?
Chicks don't dig that.
No, chicks don't dig that. Don't send us your parts. We don't. That's not a nice way to say you love us. But I just want to remind people here, Vikings is live. We have the link here in the chat. Here it is. You can go check it out. Watch the video where Jose talks about the project. Go see his studio. It's really cool. And again, all the money that this campaign is trying to raise is just to produce the books. And if there's anything extra, it goes to the artists and the colorists themselves. There is so much original art on here. It's amazing. There's a lot of stuff. There's still some beautiful prints available. Go check those out. If just that, you know what I mean? It's just amazing art. Really classical style. Beautiful, beautiful, and educational. This would make a great holiday gift for somebody, especially youngins who are interested in Vikings. And it's in a comic book style, a pictorial style. So people will dig this. So give it a look, see, push all the buttons, kick the tires, all that good stuff. And when you're done, head over to Indie Planet. Boop, 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 boop. I'm going there, I swear. I just have to push all the buttons. This one. Go to this link in the comments and then go check out Phoebe's other works in collaborations with Jeff Haas. Yes.
I remembered one other social media that people can go check out. That's Jose has a Instagram dedicated to the book, which is Vikings_Saga_ of the North, all underscores in between the words, but it's Vikings Saga of the North with underscores.
Vikings plural.
Vikings plural, yeah. And
Saga
it's
of the North. Double check me. I put it here in the chat. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Perfect. There you go, peeps. That's where you can go to go look at more specific about that project. But really, it's like go to the Kickstarter and go look at it there. Go there first, right? Exactly.
Please, and thank you.
Please and thank you. Hi, John's Long Box. Nice to see you, sir. Thanks for stopping by. We have Phoebe Xavier today, who's a writer, creator, and publisher. And she is promoting a series called Vikings Saga of the North, where she lettered and filled in the historical information, and is drawn by Jose Ernesto Diaz from Guatemala. And it's his daughter, I believe, Adriana. Yes?
His niece.
His niece. Thank you. So you can take a look at some of the beautiful art in here. Definitely go check out the Kickstarter and go look at the reward tiers. There's a bunch of original art. And that's all we got to say about that. I think we covered everything. Is there anything else that you'd like to add, Phoebe, that we missed today?
No, not really. Thank you for having me on. Please go check out the Kickstarter. Every little dollar, every share helps. It gets it moving in their algorithms. And hope to come back when I have another project to promote in the future.
Absolutely. I love our little chats. I like when we get to promote stuff and then we get to pick brains and share techniques and talk about hockey and anything else that's on our minds. So you're definitely welcome.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And guys, remember, be awesome to each other and kiss your babies. Life is short. We'll be back next week where we smash the life out of a pumpkin with the slice and dice. See you then.
Madness Entertainment Group presents the Madness Comic Network with original programming and additional comic-related content.
I told that moron not to take out my Tchaikovsky tape. No matter, let's get started. Here we are, Nancy Moon. The last time we left our heroine, she had just joined my esteemed colleagues at level M. And the soldier who cannot stop talking, a magician with money issues, and a vampire with a checkered past. But there are other teammates she's yet to meet. One in particular might be a little bit shocking for her. I do hope she's not allergic. Back it today, won't you? Like right meow.
Comic Books for Kids provides comic books to kids in hospitals and cancer centers across the U.S. It's a place where we can all work together to make sure every child has a comic book. 100% of all proceeds go towards the kids. It's about making a difference, and while they're in the hospital, allowing them to fly like a superhero, battle dragons, or rescue teddy bears. We are in every state in the country and now support over 160 hospitals. Every month, we add more.
Visit CB4